What stopped you from committing suicide? My mom called mid-attempt, and for some reason I answered. She realized I wasn't coherent and talked me into walking, staggering/stumbling, next door and asking my neighbor for help. My neighbor drove me to the hospital. Survival instinct, honestly. My little brothers think I am really cool for some reason, and one of them called me one of the nights I was really thinking about it, and he wanted to talk about Mini Coopers. Of course I did. I love talking about cars. I got him into them and he is saving money to afford one. We talked and I promised him that the Miata I am restoring I would drive him to his senior prom in, or let him drive it if he has a date. He swears he won't because I can't disappoint him, and I have 3.5 years to finish this car. I have a sticky knot on my well reminding me. At the time, like 7 years ago, my dogs figured they wouldn't understand what happened, and there was no guarantee whoever found me would keep them together. Now, therapy and a legitimate appreciation for life, my wife, of 3 years, and our 1-year-old. A friend was excited about me starting a series because they had no one else to talk to about it. Since then I've made it a habit to ask people what series or movies etc. they're into, and I told myself I can't commit suicide while I'm doing this. No one knows I started this, and honestly it's helped me a lot, and I've made a lot of new friends and watched some great shows I never considered before. It even helped me get closer to my family. One friend asked me to start One Piece lol, so that kinda gave me a chuckle because they say it won't end in this lifetime lol. Honestly I'd what has stopped me. It's not like I was really afraid, I just keep having a gut feeling not to. My best friend Brianna, thank you. My wife thanks you. My family thanks you. I never knew what I had to live for until I started living again. Too scared of what comes after death, I'm a pussy. My dog. I had eaten 34 oxys in my backyard behind my parents' shed with a bottle of rum. My dog started barking like crazy and I began to lose consciousness. Neighbor came running outside at the sound of the barking and called 911. IMTS administered Narcan on me and saved my life. I'm very happy in my life today, glad I survived. My family dog is turning 14 this year. Drugs. I figured I'd do it when my kids were old enough that it wouldn't hurt them terribly. They're 40, 37, and 30. Still not old enough not to be hurt. Not wanting to die, because I love living, no matter how hard life gets. The realization that 99.999999% of the people in the world wouldn't give a shit, and the ones that do would just cause them hurt and disappointment. Not worth it, and moods change. Just like a bad trip, just gotta let it ride. I remembered that the world would be a better place without me, so I stayed alive. Probably my cat. I had a depression 7 years ago. Sometimes I would cry myself to sleep. I felt really alone, my life was a mess. However, my cat still showed up every night and would cuddle with me and sleep with me during the whole night. That made me think that I still mattered, at least to that fluffy ball. She is now an old grumpy cat and still sleeps with me most of the nights. I love her a lot. I spoke to someone that listened. I was walking home after a really upsetting experience, and having had bad depression for years. I was actively planning how I was going to end it all, and bawling my eyes out. An old woman at a bus stop stopped me and asked what was wrong. I absolutely unloaded on this poor lady, but she was very kind. Her bus arrived, and I tried to leave as I still had a long walk, and was still planning on dying, but she bought a bus ticket for me, dragged me onto the bus, and sat beside me. She spoke to me and calmed me down. She made sure I got home. I felt a lot better, and didn't make an attempt. I saw her a few weeks later, and took her for a coffee to repay her kindness, but the sneaky old thing paid the bill while I was in the loo. I've always told myself that I will pay her back if I ever see her again, because I genuinely owe her my life. On a separate note, before my granddad died, he told my mum to tell me that if I ever did anything stupid he'd be waiting on the other side to give me the telling off of a lifetime. I was very close to my granddad, so the thought of disappointing him has also helped me stay alive. A small act of kindness goes a very long way, and I honestly owe these people my life. I was about to kill myself in college. I went to YouTube to play music, but I noticed a Rooster Teeth video on RVB. I got distracted by the RVB Tex fight video. Then I started watching their videos. That got me into YouTube Let's Plays, but more importantly that distraction saved my life. I'm now a Prime member to their website and donate money every year to RT Extra Life. Rooster Teeth saved my life and their videos distracted me from killing myself. I wanted to see the clouds one more time. I lack the constitution for it. I was at rock bottom recently. Lost my job, savings are dwindling, and figured fuck it. My cat bit my ankle on the way out until I stopped and checked her cat box, food, water, toys, and everything else to find what bothered her so much. Then sat down exhausted and depressed, to have her claw up my legs until I moved enough for her to curl up with me on the couch. Great nap, still screwed right now, but my cat needs me so I can't give up. My dad. I was about to do it, but I went to my dad. And I said, I want you to do nothing, I just want you to hear this out because if I don't say it, it'll overwhelm me. I wanna die. He said okay and just listened. I went back to my room. He came up a few hours later. I know it hurt him to wait, and he's a fixer not a listener, but he did so well. He saved my life. My mom lol, she came home early. Psychological hardwiring ick. Books. I focused on books. The books I haven't read yet. The next in a series. The ones I want to reread. It might seem silly and stupid, but it gave me something to focus on rather than what I was/am feeling. Hope. Bread, thumbs up, baguette. My fat ass breaking the tree branch. The fact that eventually I'll be dead anyway. So, I decided to wait till then, even in my darkest moments. A lack of knowledge/resources to finish the job properly. I've been a loser who fails at everything all my life. If I try to commit suicide, I will inevitably fail and as always end up suffering all the consequences for having tried. Pizza craving. Me duh. My pets, heart, don't know what I would do if I didn't have my dog, hamster or better. The only beings in the world that give me a little joy, and the thought of someone changing Fatalina name is too traumatic. Music. I was considering it a lot in college and almost went through with it. As I was about to go ahead and jump, my favorite album came on. I paused just to listen to it, then I listened to another song, and then another. Eventually I got off the ledge and just sat down and cried it out for a few hours before walking back to my dorm. Since then I've gotten much better, have a good job, a GF who loves me, and my nephew was born in December. I listen to that album daily and it helps remind me why I am still here. I had a revolver with one bullet. Lost my nerve after the third pull. Both of my parents. My mom isn't perfect, she's bipolar and often have mood swings due to my grandparents not showing any love while raising her. She's a bit difficult to handle sometimes, maybe menopause too, but I do know I mean the world to her, and she would even grab a star from the sky for me if she can. So just imagining her crying over my dead body would chase all the suicidal thoughts out of my ass. Then there's my dad. I love him and he was also a caring father while I grew up, but he rarely gave me any real advices, and after I went to college, we rarely had a real conversation. Later I found out that he was also struggling but didn't mention to me or even my mom, just so we don't have to worry. Fast forward to mid-2019, I got fired from my corporate job. I didn't tell my parents for half a year while burning my savings. When they finally heard the news from me, my dad immediately offered me to be his construction apprentice. During the 2 years working for him, we've bonded like never before. Now, we aren't just father and son anymore, we actually became best friends. So yeah, both of my parents aren't perfect and my depression is still here, but their love for me is what keeps me going and I couldn't be more grateful to be their son. My goal now is to find a career, and be able to provide for them a carefree life after retirement. Someone decided to cut the power for maintenance right when I wanted to drop the toaster. It lasted the whole day. At that point I just laughed at the absurdity. I won't force my parents to have a funeral for their son. I felt my baby move in my belly for the first time. I always wanted to live longer than Jeff Buckley. Now I want to live longer than Leonard Cohen. Other than that, there's always something worth hanging into. Being small stuff like video games such as Alan Wake 2, Spider-Man 2. Or bunch of shit I haven't experienced that I'd like to try. It nearly happened, but I woke up 5 hours later, had an odd but not strong enough, quit substances shortly after.